Hey, what's going on? This is the last Monday update of the year, and I thought we would do just a little break from the construction. I know that's why everyone tunes in, but I thought it'd be really cool to kind of hear some of the, from Dan. It's Dan Fritch. He was the chair of the capital campaign, and you know, it's been such a successful thing. We still got a little ways to go, but I thought it'd be really cool to hear some of the stories, kind of what it was like for you to kind of organize this, where you found their help. I mean, we had a lot of incredible people working on it. And I always think sometimes we're focused on the building, and there was so much groundwork laid up, and I thought it'd be really interesting to see kind of like, hey, you know, as we're getting close to the end of the year, first, you know, we can make some of the end-of-year gifts, but also just kind of hear like, what did it take to get us to this point where we could even launch the project itself? So, yeah, so, I mean, what was the first kind of step for you? I mean, I think Father Eugene probably talked to you. I don't know. I mean, what was that like?
So, it started off with, when this project first began, we were looking at an $8 million project. So when I signed in, I said, okay, I think I can help raise $8 million. And as the finance committee chairman for the church, I felt it was my obligation to step in and help out. So really we discussed it, and we looked at previous campaigns that we had done. If you remember, we did one back in 2004 when we raised $5.5 million for the parish center here. And we looked at the Stewards of God's Grace campaign that was done by the diocese. And we kind of took all those data points and we looked at it, and the finance committee, we discussed it and said, hey, can we even raise $8 to $10 million?
Yeah.
And following the diocesan obligations and the rules that they set forth for us, we have to have 80% of that committed before we're going to break ground and sign contracts and start doing work. So we had an $8 million goal that we had to hit even to get started. Yeah. So it really started about this time, even a little earlier than this, a year ago, when Father Eugene and I, we were tasked with going out and starting to talk to some of our parishioners, some of those that are in the top donor list, and just kind of get their feedback. We really went out and spoke to 25 to 30 families and said, hey, here's what we're thinking about doing. So it didn't start off with going out and making an ask. It really started off with sharing our thoughts and ideas and concepts of this is what we're trying to create for the parish. And we were amazed at the amount of positive feedback that we received immediately. And oh my gosh, this is what we need to do. And glad to hear that we're going to do it now and not wait. Now you have to remember, a year and 7 months ago, we're right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And we're about to kick off a $10 million campaign, and some, I don't think anybody really said, hey, is it now the time? I really think they said, we need to do it, there'll never be a good time.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful for us to really energize us and give us that positive feeling that, hey, this thing is probably going to fly.
Yeah. And I was worried about the launching during COVID, but I've been thinking about this, like how providential it was, because we've been able to get our contracts and everything ordered really before a lot of the supply chain things hit. It's getting really bad out there now. I just talked to a friend of mine who is building a church in Tennessee, and they've just stopped the project, basically. They're delayed 2 years, he thinks, because they just can't get anything. The architect, the engineers are all saying, we can't get steel, we can't do anything for you. And so we're really blessed that we did. Like I said, I was nervous, but Providence kind of paved the way again for us, because what we did was we got in right before it got really bad. If we didn't do this now, it would be probably 3 or 4, maybe even a 5-year thing before we could even imagine doing something this scale again. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Providence works.
When we first looked at this project, we even talked about breaking it into 2 projects. Mm-hmm. And that was because of the size of what we were looking at, maybe talking about doing the outside and doing the inside later. And it was unanimous with the people that we spoke to. They said, you need to make the ask. And you need to do what is right, and you need to do it all at one time.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think that's really been the beautiful part. Alan and I have talked a lot about, like, we're going to do the right thing. And I think that's what it seemed, all the feedback that was coming was like, look, this is a big price tag, but you got to do the right thing. This is a 150-year-old church. You can't put cheap things in there. You can't. And so I think everyone really was committed to doing the right thing, even if it was probably not the funnest or the easiest thing to do. Yeah. So
I think the other thing is, you look at this church that took 14 years to build, and the committee, there are individuals on this committee from the renovation project that have been working on this for 7 years to do it right. So we were very excited the fact that we had that much commitment in a group of people who were just basically saying we're going to do it right. We're going to do it right at the right cost. We're going to make the right decisions. And as you said, not all those decisions are simple. Some of them are very difficult. But so the alignment of everything worked really well. We came into 2021 with a plan. We had the plan approved by the bishop, and we said, here's our plan, here's our multi-month year plan. And basically, we went out and executed on the plan. And that started with finding really 20 key individual team leaders, as we called them, our capital campaign, our time capital campaign team leaders. And we brought those individuals on board probably for about February, right at the end of February or mid-February. We brought them, we talked to them about the plan, we educated them on what was going, we made copies of pictures so that they could see that the need was there, and we educated those 20 team captains, and then we asked each of those team captains to go out and find about 4 or 5 team members. So all in all, when we kicked our campaign off the first week of March by talking to our team captains, 20 team captains and about 70 to 75 team members made up our group that really went out, made the asks, talked to our parishioners, talked to friends of the parish, and delivered the information to them, educated them on what we were doing, asked them for their feedback, we've been continuing to get feedback for a long time, and then made those asks and followed up on those individual donations. We were truly blessed. Obviously, we had a nice significant amount of commitment before we started, but we knew that we had to hit the $8 million mark, and we knew we had to hit it quickly, because then we were approached by the renovation committee saying, hey, by the way, instead of starting this in the fall, we actually need to break it into multiple phases and do the exterior starting in, I believe it was May.
Yeah.
So it's March. We've got to get an approval from the bishop on a $10 million project that we really need to have $8 million committed on. So we laid that out in front of our group, and we talked about it, and we prayed about it. And I can tell you that we raised $8 million in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And on the first week of May, we had $8 million committed and are in place. Yeah, so we were truly, it was incredible. And our volunteers did an outstanding job. The renovation committee did an outstanding job to be able to maneuver and break the project up into multiple projects so that we could get the exterior done before this weather took place. So again, I think if you look at all the things that had to come into place to make this project work, it was truly a blessing that it all came together like it did.
Yeah, and I think that was I mean, you're right, because it was, we had to get the exterior done, and we kind of said, like, well, maybe we'll wait until the following year. And then the contracting architect said, wait a minute, so you're going to not seal the building, then do all of this nice work, and then you're going to do the exterior? They're like, that makes no sense. Yeah. So we did kind of have to move fast on that. And we were we were really blessed that we were able to raise that quickly. Our volunteers were all mobilized. I mean, they did a great job organizing it. And that was one thing we kind of talked about a lot before. We were thinking about bringing in a company maybe, but we didn't do any of that. You had a consultant to help you, but it was just, I mean, we saved.
We had what we called an advisor who actually spoke to us and said, didn't think that we need to go out and hire an outside firm that could cost us a couple $100,000 to engage in this campaign. And basically, he was my coach. So for almost a year, once a month, we talked. We discussed the plan and how I was coming along with the plan. He made some recommendations. Might want to try this, try that. And we incorporated that into our plan. And through that, and those wonderful volunteers, including the staff here at St. Joe's, we were able to execute on that plan and do a great job, we feel like. Now, we're at 92% of our goal. And we kind of knew that. We knew that the first push was going to be a flash in the pan, and it was going to be difficult. But we knew that we would acquire most of our funding up front. So we still have additional work to do to close that gap. We have about $800,000. But we feel very confident that we'll be able to still attain that goal.
Yeah. And do you know, like, was there one thing that, like, the advisor said to you, your coach said to you, that, like, stuck with you? Or is it just like everything was just like drinking from a fire hose at the time? I just can't imagine. There's so much information, so many things to organize.
Well, I can tell you this, I had a lot of help, and the other help that I received was I talked to Dave Beeler, who raised $5.5 million for this parish center, and I believe they did that in 11 weeks back in 2004. So I sat down with Dave Beeler for over an hour. He gave me his entire booklet and his plan, and I kind of looked at that plan and how he did it. Contacted, as you know, during the same time, St. Mary's was in the middle of a capital campaign, or actually finishing up on the building of their church. So I contacted those individuals and spoke to them. So I was kind of getting a feel for, in the community, what was the best way to approach it. So what I was really able to do was take feedback from different people and build our own plan, which really customized it for us. I was able to take a little bit from each person and learn from that, and then help our volunteers with how to ask and when to make the calls and how to do the follow-ups and the letters and all of those things. So yes, it was baptism by fire hose, because I had never raised anything like this in my past career. I did help with several of the fundraisers, capital campaigns for the parish here over the last 15 years, but obviously this was a big undertaking, and but we were truly blessed. We had the right people that were helping us, and we were happy with the results.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. We're kind of pushing to that very end, trying to make sure because we've kind of talked like with the foundation problems we kind of found in the tunnels. Like now there's no wiggle room, so we got to finish.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't know if you had like a particular joy that came out of it. I mean, I just remember you running in and out of the parish center pretty much every day. But I didn't know if there was something that like really inspired you about it, if there was some memory you had, or if there was even like a story that you heard that just kind of like reignited those kind of that joy that came from. Because I do think that what I found when we had those big volunteer sessions was everyone was really excited about the future. And I always think that's a great place to be. If we could just, I was like, if we could bottle that up and like put it on a shelf and like in 3 years just open that puppy again and see what happens,
Well, I can tell you this. The joy that I received out of this campaign, going out and talking to our parishioners and spending time with them and just sharing with them our ideas and then asking for the feedback and then really listening to their stories. It is amazing the deep root connections that our parishioners have at St. Joseph's Church. It was truly a God-felt feeling listening to these stories, and they're too numerous to tell, but I'll touch on a few of them. But I really got a lot out of this personally. To hear those stories and how they've impacted people's families and lives, this parish, and how much it's meant to this community and to individuals was just, it was a blessing to hear those, I can tell you. There were times when I spoke to people and they would talk about their first communion, or they would, we got a lot of talks about the nuns and the previous priests and the rulers and just all the different things. And the parish school at that time was a school burning down, and a couple of days later the kids were, walking through the char, picking up books and downing. That wouldn't happen to
never
happened to them in a million years. But so everyone has a story. Everyone has a connection to this parish. I think the other thing is, what is amazing is 25% or more of the funds that we have raised, maybe almost 30, have come from friends of the parish, which means they are not St. Joseph's Church parishioners. And the effort and the support that we have received from this community has been outstanding. And one of the stories that I have was I received a letter from a gentleman and his wife, and they had found in 1946, St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Hayesville had burned on Christmas Day. And in their memory book, it states that the first 4 contributors to their new church in 1946 were 4 parishioners from St. Joseph's Church.
That's awesome, yeah.
And this individual sent me the clipping, wrote a letter, and basically said, here's our check, we would like to help pay it forward. That is outstanding and unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, we receive phone calls from people out of state, from all over the place who said they had a connection back here to St. Joseph's. Either they could have been married here, they were originally from Jasper, and just again, the community support. This building, this structure, this parish means a lot of things to a lot of people in this community. And I'm so grateful to be a part of saving this heritage and saving this beautiful church for another 150 years.
Yeah, and I think that's what like a lot of the motivation was, that like we have these beautiful stories, and I think the question we've been asking a lot, at least since I've been here with Father Eugene, like how do we take those stories and weave in new stories with them? Because I think like that's really kind of the goal for a lot of people, that a lot of our volunteers, a lot of the committee that we assembled for the renovation was like, how do we keep those stories alive and continue to move forward with those new stories? Because that's really, it's amazing what this church has meant for so many people. It can continue to be that symbol of hope that that Jasper needs. So that's really awesome.
You know, Father, there's been a lot of people to thank. The staff here at St. Joe's has been amazing. I mean, if you think about it, we sent out 1,800 packets. We followed up with 300 or 400 additional letters. We've written thank yous. We've sent tax forms. We've done all types of things. But I can tell you, the staff here at St. Joe's has done a wonderful job to support our efforts, and we should be proud of the work that they've done. And I can't say enough about Alan Huffman, who has really dedicated himself to this project more than it's more than humanly possible.
Yeah.
So his undertaking and his commitment and his attention to detail to make sure that we are doing the right thing, we're in good hands. And that, you know, when you're raising money and you're talking to people about making contributions to this, it's really good that you have that much trust and the people that are behind the scenes making these decisions that are costing millions of dollars, but are also making it possible for us to enjoy this for another 150 years.
Yeah, I was just with Alan today, and I think you're right. One of the benefits of doing one without him is we get to praise him, because he doesn't take praise well, does he? Yeah, no, he's been incredible. Like, yeah, we were just walking around today, just looking at everything. He knew where everything was supposed to be and kind of where they're on track, and just really has been driving this project, which has been a huge benefit for, I know, Father Eugene and I. And you're right, if he didn't have the answer, he wasn't going to lie to you. He was going to find you the answer, and he was going to get back to you. And I think so many people appreciated that. I know I appreciated that. It was vital. During those early fundraising, there were so many questions that came in, and really great questions. A lot we had answers to. Others we had to kind of dig in a little bit. And Alan did such a good job of kind of following through that. So yeah, he's been incredible. I don't think we would have gotten here without you, Alan. The whole team has just been absolutely incredible. So. Yeah, anyone else? Anything else? I mean, we just want to kind of like remind everyone, like, this is still going on. Mm-hmm. We're not at that finish line yet. We're getting really close. And also to kind of like say, like, hey, this has been an incredible year for St. Joe's. I mean, we're doing things that are just mind-blowing to me. And I think it's just a great joy.
And we're overcoming obstacles and challenges that we've never faced before.
Yeah.
Think about raising $9 million, doing a renovation of this size, like you said. It just so happened, I mean, some of these materials could be on hold for more than a year.
Yeah.
And what would that do to our plans? So we've been truly blessed throughout this entire process.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing it come to fruition at the end. And it's going to be fantastic. I think it would be something that we will all be proud of and be happy that we took the time and the effort to do it right.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we'll keep praying for it. And I said in the last video that scaffolding was down. I lied. We obviously pre-filmed these. The scaffolding is coming down. You can see the cupola now. Yes. It's lit up. It's beautiful. And so they said it's going to take 2 weeks to get everything down.
So a guy up there tearing a piece out. Not tearing, but lifting a piece out. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. So it is coming down. So kind of keep looking at it. It's beautiful. Keep praying for the project, for the safety of the workers, for all the team. And then, just kind of make sure that you're kind of thanking the staff, because they really have put in a lot of hours, just kind of keeping these things rolling.
And last year, nice time to make a final contribution. Not final, but make an additional contribution to the Our Time Capital Campaign. Yeah. So we'd like to put closure on that $800,000.
Yeah.
So
let's roll that
while you're out having Christmas cheer and talking to your friends, ask them if they've had a chance to contribute to this great project.
Yeah, tell them a story or two,
Right.
Tell them to come watch the Monday updates, see what we're doing. because it's incredible. And so, yes, we'll just keep praying. We'll probably drop another Monday update. Let me get through Christmas in January. So I want to wish everyone a very happy Advent and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Look for us kind of late January. We'll be dropping another one to kind of keep you up to date and informed. And then next year we're going to be able to start talking about some of the more design details. Inside things, because now we've kind of got the outside all finished. We've kind of found, I hope, we found the end of some of the problems. And we'll keep you up to date on those, because those are big things. There's a Bulletin article a couple weeks ago, and it just keeps moving. So look for us late January. Have a very happy Advent, Merry Christmas, and please keep praying for us. So, thanks. God bless.
Thank you.